It was a usually beautiful day. The sun was out, the birds were chirping, and it was exactly 10 a.m. on the dot, of course. It was a boring day today, so I decided to go out with my friend Isaac to the park. A bunch of children were running around, and I decided to take a seat on a bench. Man, today is a really boring day, I said.
Oh, come on. It's a glorious day. It's sunny out today. We really never get a sunny day,
said my best friend Isaac. I just ignored him and simply walked home. He decided to go with me. I thought it was a good enough day to play some NES games. Ah, the classics. Maybe Contra? Nah. Super Mario Brothers? Nope. Way overrated of a game, if you ask me. I decided to play Mega Man 2. After beating Airman, I eventually quit. I turned off the console and took out the cartridge because, I guess I was not in the mood for Mega Man 2 that day. So I decided to take a nap, and, after that nap, it's the next day already. I guess I took a bit of a nap, if I say so myself. The air was breezing today, but I didn't mind since it, makes for a nice walk, which I took one today, of course. And across the street, there was a house that looked like it was under construction. It was just wood and nothing else to it. I was curious and went up the stairs to the next floor. On the ground, I saw an NES cartridge. It was really, really dusty for a cartridge though. I decided to brush off the front, and it was the game Pac-Man. I never had Pac-Man on the NES, so that's surprising. But the odd thing was, it didn't look like any other Pac-Man game on the NES. It looked like it was in a format of Super Mario Brothers. Pac-Man was jumping on the cover, and it said, Super Pac-Man. Wasn't there already a game called Super Pac-Man on the arcades? That is strange. Either way, I took it anyways. I walked down the stairs and ran all the way home. I opened and slammed my door in a rush when I ran to my living room next and put in the cartridge to my NES console. I firmly turned on the console, and what I saw, I find a little odd. On the screen, I saw some text that says .exe presents. Maybe it must have been a hack, I suppose? Well, regardless, I pressed the start button and proceeded with caution. Pac-Man seemed to be in an empty maze with one blue line. There was only Blinky, which was kind of odd for a hack, if you ask me. I moved a bit, but as soon as I pressed the down button on the D-pad, Pac-Man froze. Blinky then touched Pac-Man, and a scream came out. Not the classic Pac-Man death sound that you hear. No, it was a real scream. It sounded like Pac-Man was actually screaming in pain. That shocked me so bad. I jumped back in fear. What happened next, I just couldn't understand. Pac-Man respawned in a red background. It couldn't be blood. It can't be blood because it wasn't leaking at all. It was just the color red. Pac-Man had 8-bit tears coming down from the front of his face. The ghost had black eyes and red for pupils. They were saying, "You must die!" backwards, and it seemed to be in a deep voice. Seemed. They were 50 times faster than last time, and Pac-Man was 50 times slower. A bit of an overkill, but alright. The ghosts all got him at the same time, and Pac-Man started screaming like a girl this time. It dropped my ears in the background, and then I got a game over. I was scared, and I tried to plug out the console, but the console wouldn't turn off even if I plugged it out or pressed the power switch. It was still on. Even if I plugged the cords out of the AV input port, I was screaming and I tried to run out of the house, but the door was locked, save for the back door and the emergency door. Who has an emergency door? I was frightened for my life, but as the protagonist of the story, I proceed with the game. The graphics looked like it was better than Xbox 360, PS3, Wii U, even better than the best looking CGI or Blender film. It looked like real life. Like I was watching actors. Pac-Man was crying with tears and had actual eyes. He had legs and arms and feet and hands. I used the D-pad and ran to the right. It was a line that went on and on and on. It felt like it was 60 years. Pac-Man then ended up at a shop where he fell off a cliff. The TV exploded, and as soon as I woke up, I was actually 74 years old. No! No! I was rotting. I was melting. Everything was melting from my point of view. I then exploded, and I actually felt it. As soon as that, I was in a grave. I was still rotting, and then I woke up in the grave, and now I was not 74 anymore. I was back to my normal age. I eventually found a way to break out of my grave, and I ran home. My home was shattered into pieces. My NES was broken. That Pac-Man cartridge was still there. It had blood all over it, and it was shattered. I ran away from my house and went over to my friend Isaac's house. It was the only place I could stay. I turned on his TV in the living room, and I changed the channel to the news. It said that the house at Ashland Avenue was shattered into pieces, and the teenagers that lived there, well, their parents were missing. I was worried after this, but just made me feel strange. Why did I have a dream I was 74 years old? Why did the NES cartridge act up like that? I don't really know what's going on. I just decided to ignore it. After that, I never, ever played any Pac-Man game in my life again. Oh yeah, okay, sure. My house was shattered into pieces, but apparently, someone else's house, yeah, there was also missing parents too. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know, and, I'll just ignore this stuff, though. Come on, let's just ignore this stuff. It's not a big deal. I don't even know what the story is. Like, I really tried to be a little serious here, initially, but by the time we got to the whole red background stuff, and then Pac-Man screaming like a girl or something, I just give up at that point. There's no point. You know how these stories go. There's clever, great stories like the Pac-Man Damage ROM one. Pac-Man.exe, they famously known as. That one is definitely a great one. This one, well, it definitely came from its era. That I can tell you. Well, that was Pac-Man NES. That was a story. That was definitely a story.